Hello there. Welcome to Spiritual Formation. Very excited about having you here. This week we're going to be talking about salvation. We're going to look at one particular passage of Scripture. It's Romans chapter 8, verses 29 to 30. And we're going to go ahead and read that. It says, For those God foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brothers and sisters. And those he predestined, he also called. Those he called, he also justified. Those he justified, he also glorified. And the topic of this week is salvation. When we talk about salvation, Paul brings up a really interesting point that there's a lot of interesting events that have taken place all at one point in salvation. And let me just, for a few moments, to kind of unpack some of this. In Romans 8, verses 29 to 30, he talks about God's foreknowledge, his predestination, and his justification. God foreknew us before we were born, before we were created. He predestined us, whatever that means according to your theological orientation. But God predestined us to salvation, and then he justified us. That's a past tense kind of a thing, sort of a past tense relationship. Then he called us in the present. He called us in our time, in time, to be justified. But then, not only did he call us to be justified, he also glorified us in the future. But when you read this as if this has already happened. Again, let me read this. He says, For those God foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brothers and sisters. And those he predestined, past tense, he also called, past tense. Those he called, he also justified, past tense. And those he justified, he also glorified, past tense. So all of these things God has done for us, he's done for us already. All these things that he's done for us have already taken place in the sense that we have been foreknown and predestined and justified by God. In time, we are called by God, but we're also already glorified. And so what I want to leave you with this morning, or today, is with the challenge that if you have already been declared glorified by God, we know we've already been declared justified. God looks at us as just as if we have never sinned. But if what Paul says is true, that we have been declared already glorified, but will receive that glorification as we enter into our eternal reward with him, let's act like it. Let's act like we're already glorified in the sense that let's begin living our lives as if it's already done. So I want to encourage you, I want to challenge you this week as you do read through this lecture, as you do participate in the forums, as you do some of the assignments, some of the assessments that we're doing. Let's challenge ourselves to be what God has already declared us to be. Let's line up with what God calls us. So as we do that, I'm hoping and I'm praying that you will see through this process that as God has called you to be justified, to be glorified, as he's called you to be that, then let's live that way according to the call that he has given us. Hope that you have a great week. I trust that it's going to be a good, enlightening lecture for you, and look forward to some discussions with you. God bless and have a good day.